What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Life is Strange 2, Episode 4, Faith. Now, here's the deal. I understand where people are going to come from. I understand people do not like me. I understand that you're probably not going to agree with my opinion. I want to start this review out by just saying this is my own personal opinion. I'm going to try and back it up and act and be cohesive and talk about this episode, what I liked, what I didn't like about this episode. This is going to be full spoilers, so I'm going to be talking about the entire thing. So if you guys don't want spoilers, turn away now. But I understand not everybody's going to agree. You can have different opinions. It's okay to not agree. With that being said, here's the deal. This episode was not good, just flat out. And I don't think it was awful. I do not think, and let me say that again, I do not think this episode was awful. I thought episode 3 was point blank awful. Episode 4 was flirting with doing some okay things a couple times. I liked interactions with characters. I actually thought the truck driver and Karen were two very solid characters. Much like Lila, who is just completely gone at this point, they continue to kind of introduce characters that could be okay, but end up not being in it enough to fulfill what they could be. Now, Karen could possibly be better as the last episode unfolds because she'll be in it again. But, those two characters were the best part. That's it. There was a cool scene in the hospital, but at the end of the day, this episode was boring. And more than anything, and I was thinking about this overnight. I literally slept on this and tried to think about what I wanted to say. This episode was boring, and this episode was a complete filler, and it didn't need to happen. It felt like this episode was literally trying to be part of a bigger story, which obviously it was, right? You got to get Daniel back. But it also kind of felt like it could have been on its own. Like this was like a side adventure of Sean and Daniel. It truly felt like that because when you really think about what happened, I'm serious. I'm truly serious, guys. Think about what happened in the 2 hours and 15 minutes that this episode went on. 40 minutes was spent in a hospital room. Not in a hospital, in the hospital room. You spent 40 minutes in one room. Tell me another game that you spent that long in a single room. That's just flat out lazy and boring. In my opinion, it truly is. When you're stuck in one place for over half an hour, you're doing things, I guess, but not really. A lot of this game was also waiting for other things to happen. You have to wait for that interrogation lady to come back. You have to wait for Karen to come back in the motel. A lot of it was like, feel free to look around the room, even though there's nothing there. Look around the room until this character comes back so we can advance the plot. That's what this was. Let's talk about Sean real fast, and I want to get to Daniel and the cult because I think that's a very important, very awful thing the story did that I want to talk about and give reasons why. Sean was point blank, again, just bad. And I know, here's the thing. Was he as whiny as I thought he would be? No, he wasn't. He actually wasn't. I forgot, because it takes so goddamn long in between these episodes, I forgot the main reason why I don't like Sean and I don't like Sean's voice actor is his emotion. He's got none. He really talks in a monotone, robotic, like no emotion kind of state. He's a lifeless person. I truly believe that. I can't connect with somebody that honestly keeps the same range of voice the entire episode, no matter what's happening. Now, I mean, okay, is that a hyperbole? Does he actually show some? But truly, for the most part, you just sit there. I'm sitting on my chair watching and playing the game, and I'm not connecting to him because he's giving me I don't feel conflict. I don't feel emotion. And when I do, or when he tries, all he does is say the F word. He said the F word like 30 times in this game. And one time was after the whole Nevada, him being out in the car scene. I understand he's like broken and, he's crying in his one eye. But all he can scream is the F word really long and loudly. It's like, that's just lazy. Do they think that a person they can only... I understand he's a teenager, but like at the F word, and I'm not saying it for obvious reasons, it's YouTube, but like that just comes off to me as completely lazy. So Sean as a character did not help. He didn't help. I didn't despise him, but he was just so lifeless and so unpersonable that I still can't. I cannot get behind him as a character. Finally, the reason, again, I say this episode was kind of self-contained is we're in the hospital for 40 minutes. We're walking on the desert road, right? Trucker gets us to where we need to go, the church. And then we are at the church. motel, church, episode's over. The episode struggles with, at the same time, feeling like you're stuck in one area, to at the other time, you're jumping around too much. It's really weird. It doesn't give you enough time to do things at certain points, and it gives you way too much time at others. Again, like being in the hospital 40 minutes, way too long. But then we're in the motel, we're in the church, and we're like there for like in the church, we're barely there. It's all just cutscenes. And even in that area, there's more to that area than the church and the house that you have to go explore for the files. There's more, but you'll never get to see it. And that's a nice self-contained area. Again, the episode like has things that I would have liked it to do, but it doesn't do it. And then we find Daniel converted by the cult. Here's the problem. Was that a bombshell, like, jaw-dropping moment? It honestly was. I thought it wasn't Daniel because, like, his haircut, looked like Gohan. I didn't like, I was like, is that actually in the live stream? You guys can watch me play this whole episode, by the way. It's on the channel. You can hear me in the live stream say, like, is that actually him? Because I didn't think it was. And then, obviously, okay, so it is him, and they've converted him, and he's the messenger of God, and he's going to cure the girl of pneumonia and all that stuff. And here's the deal. And this is what, I struggled with this, and we talked about this in the live stream. We had like a nice back and forth with people. I understand he's 9 or 10, however old he is now. I understand he's a young kid, and he can be manipulated quite easily because he's so young. But jaw-dropping moment, yes. Crazy and like out of it, yeah. Like the cult leaders, completely like it's like this is actually insane. But that's the problem. Don't Nod like I know I said I wanted a villain, but to be honest, I guess be careful what you wish for, because I wanted them. I literally have said, if you guys have watched on enough, I've said, give me a villain in these games, and they did. They gave me cult leaders, and here's the problem with that. Here's the honest problem. Mark Jefferson was a villain, but we didn't know it. We got close to him. I actually liked him as a character. I thought he was pretty cool, and it turns out he was bad. Now, he manipulated everybody, right? Because we thought he was good and he was bad. They manipulated Daniel to think that, they were like his parent, or they were like people that could watch over him and guide him. You could argue like they manipulated him the same way as Jefferson, but like, no, they didn't. That's not how it works. And when you talk to them, they just seem so cookie cutter. They seem like early 2000 villain. You know what I mean? Whereas before the age where villains actually had motives. The best villains in the world. The reason I watch movies or games, honestly, this is the true thing, is I love a villain that you can actually see being the good guy in their own world. That you can look at and say, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. You make sense to me. I may even follow you if I didn't kind of already know, you've been labeled the villain by pretty much the movie itself, right? So if I didn't know that, though, I could see you as a good guy. The reason you're doing the things you're doing makes sense to you. And also, to me, it's just a different way of thinking. I love that. But remember in the early 2000s, like before we have that, where like the villain was just the villain, destroy everything, we want to rule the world, stuff like that. That's what these cult leaders are, okay? They're obviously bad people. They just are when they're talking. And then when Sean says, Daniel, you're being manipulated, they're lying to you. He doesn't do anything. He turns on Sean, which is obvious. It's predictable. Same thing with the ending. Completely predictable. Did I like having Sean get beat up? Well, you know what? Sometimes you need it. But it's honestly, and that's just a joke, okay? Honestly, that's just a joke. The ending was predictability at its finest, and literally what movies and shows and TV have done 1,000 times, where you're trying to prove to somebody that somebody's bad, but they can't really tell. It's actually like Star Wars Episode 6, when the Emperor is electrocuting Luke, and then Vader's like, well, he's my master, but he's killing my son. So do I turn on him? And they go back and forth. Right before Luke's like about to die, he does it. That's literally this. They're beating Sean to a pulp, and it's only until I even said this, I'm like, just pull the gun out and aim it at him, because that's what it's leading to. It's leading to them pulling the gun on Sean, and then Daniel being like, oh no, they're going to kill my brother. I'm going to stop this. Predictable, super predictable, but at the end of the line, these villains are cookie cutter bad villains. It's obvious they're bad. It's obvious they're bad to Sean. I get it. Daniel is 9 or 10. Daniel's a kid. They got to him first, so they got to tell him whatever they needed to tell him to try and convince him. He's been there for, maybe a couple weeks, couple months. So, yeah, he's going to be a little bit manipulated. But, like, come on. You see your brother. He's so happy to see Sean. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, no. I know you just immediately can call it that these people are evil. I'm not buying it. So it's just weak. It was weak. I know I wanted a villain, but the whole point was weak. And then pretty much you leave, and when the episode ends, it's like it never happened. Like, the only thing that happened is you reunited with Daniel and you have your mom. That's it. I mean, you really could have done that 1,000 different ways besides this. This felt like a self-contained episode that felt like they wanted it to stand on its own weight. If you needed it to, like if you just wanted to play episode 4 of Life is Strange 2, you could, and you could get a solid like adventure, you get some action, you get some emotion. You could just play it. You don't have to play 1 through 3, and you don't even have to play 5. You could just play 4. That's what it felt like to me. The villain's weak. Sean weak. Daniel, I mean, he was okay in the beginning, but then when he was like, oh, I'm going to side with them over you guys, and then he became like that predictable hero that's going to save the day, he became just awful. He wasn't unbearable. Sean was unbearable. But just overall, I mean, and here's the thing. I'm going to end it. This is it. I'm ending it. I'm going to make more videos. You know, I'm still going to do the Life is Strange community series. We're going to make videos talking about episode 4 and then talking about episode 5, leading into episode 5. We have a long wait. I want to end it with this. I don't think I've said anything wildly crazy. I truly don't. You can watch me play it. You can actually listen to the words I'm saying in this review. I don't think I've said anything outrageous that doesn't seem reasonable in my thoughts. So again, if you like this episode, awesome. Awesome. I'm happy. I love it when games can emotionally touch somebody, when people enjoy games. It's great if you liked episode 4. I'm not going to take that away from you. I don't want to take that away from you. All I'm saying is that's my opinion. My opinion is I did not like this episode. Those are my reasons, and that's it. If you guys want to disagree, totally cool. There's just no need to throw hate. It's my opinion, and I think it's pretty fair. I mean, I did give it a chance. I said some positive things, but overall, I mean, I don't think what I said negative is all that crazy at all. So, guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think about this episode? What are you looking forward to episode 5? What do you want me to cover? Do you want me to cover anything specific about either episode in the Life is Strange community series? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel podcast now. Hit that bell icon. Thank you so much for watching. Leave that dislike right now, and I will see you on the next video.